And welcome to another exciting edition of the Brother Marcus, Sister Cecilia, and the Marriage Keepers show. I'm one half of the team. I'm Brother Marcus, and I'm so honored and delighted that you are with us and joining us for this wonderful edition of the Brother Marcus and Sister Cecilia and the Marriage Keepers show. Tonight we're going to talk with our student minister from none other than Memphis, Tennessee, Minister Anthony Muhammad, and he is going to guide us in the discussion, and the discussion is going to be on will you be accountable in your own marriage. We have so many issues and problems and things that we need to talk about tonight. And we need to talk about accountability because that seems like that's the buzzword all over the planet Earth. And I'm just so honored to have you all in our midst tonight. We thank you so much for joining us, and to all of you who are posting it out there, letting folks know that our show is on. Thank you all very, very kindly for doing that. We are trying our best to help in whatever way we can Minister Farrakhan and the great work that he is doing all over the planet Earth. We are just a small part of that great work that he's doing, trying to help him to affect marriages in a very positive way. All that we're going to give to you is going to be his teaching, his mindset, his way, his manner of dealing with marriages in 2019. And we're so very honored to have you to be part of our show and what we're trying to do. I am feeling that God is going to bless us tonight, and I hope that you are in the mood for a blessing. We have a beautiful retreat that we can announce to you. We'll be announcing it with Minister Tony Muhammad in a couple of days. A couple of shows we have him coming on the show, and he's going to talk about the retreat and what we plan to do on this particular marriage retreat. Is going to be very phenomenal for all of you to participate in. It's going to be on August the 15th through August the 19th inside of Brooklyn, New York. And that is going to be a wonderful time for you and your husband to get together, you and your wife to get together and really work through some issues. You might have some issues, you may not have no issues at all. You might have a perfect marriage, and you have to teach the rest of us how to have a perfect marriage as we do what we do. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity. Minister Tony's going to be there. I'm not sure what he's going to do. He's got so many things that he can do. I know that he's often done the communications piece with us in our marriages. He does the counseling, and I want you all to know that if you need counseling, he's going to be available a day early getting to the retreat. So that's going to be the 14th. He'll be available on the 19th. If you need his help and his wife's help, you should get that. We will be available as well for counseling, but he's the master counselor. We're going to have Minister Hafiz there. We all are trying our best to help marriages in 2019, and we look forward to helping you all in whatever way we can. I see Sister Cecilia has entered the building. She is ready to come on. Sister Cecilia, assalamu alaikum to you. How are you feeling, my dear beloved wife of 26 years? All praise is due to Allah.
Assalamu alaikum, family. I'm doing fine and well, thanking Almighty God for the privilege and honor we had at our Savior's Day, which just happened to be on my birthday weekend as well. So thanking Allah for another year of being on the planet and using my life to help those around the planet to have better marriages, better relationships with their self, with their family, with their husband, their wife, getting ready for that future courtmate. So we are just full and reinvigorated, energized to do more work to help our brothers and sisters.
All praise is due to Allah. We are really looking forward to helping in whatever way we can. We thank Allah for Minister Farrakhan and the work that him and his beloved wife have done. For 63 years of leading us in marriage, we have yet to really show forth the power of being married for 63 years. We would love to bring you the Honorable Louis Farrakhan to talk about his experiences in marriage and what he's gone through and how he has been able to survive 63 years in a marriage. We hope one day we'll be able to do that. But we today have one of his representatives, and he'll be along very shortly for us to talk about marriage, and his representative is going to talk about accountability in marriage. And I'm so very honored to have Minister Muhammad on with us. It's going to be a great show, and I hope that you will go to your Facebook page and let other people know. Go to your Instagram and your Snapchats, whatever you have. Let people know that our show is on, and we don't do the show all week long. We do the show one time a week, and the show is on Sunday evenings at about 8 p.m. to about 10 p.m. So you're in for a treat, and we have with us, I see Brother Manatee is here, who is our dear brother from New Jersey. And Brother Manatee, I'm just so happy to see you. How are you doing today, my dear brother?
All praise is due to Allah, Brother Marcus, and Sister Cecilia. I'd like to say Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm excited, you know what I'm saying, by the grace of Allah to be here this evening to discuss with Student Minister Anthony Muhammad, who Allah has blessed me to know, I think, since '86 when he was in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And when I first came into the nation, and I'm glad to be here with you and your lovely wife and our listening audience. But first, I'd like to say I was listening to the show New Beginnings last night by the grace of Allah. And Allah bless you and Sister Cecilia, along with Brother Todd and Brother True Seven and Sister Ada, to have a excellent show.
Allahu Akbar.
And I wanted to call in, but I said, Allah bless y'all to talk about everything that, could have been talked about. I didn't have to, so I didn't even have to call in. I just sat down and relaxed and, just meditated on what was being said and how Allah bless you and Sister Cecilia to feed, I know myself. And I hope those who was listening was, by Allah's grace, was able to take something for last night's show, because we always get in our way, and our worst enemy in relationships, and particularly our own self. But I thank you all for coming on that show last night and to extend yourself to give what Allah has imparted in you the teachings to get back to us in the nation in particular.
All praise is due to Allah, Brother Manatee. It's an honor to serve black people, and we have to try again. I'm going to keep saying that over and over to us. Try again to serve black people. If you try and it didn't work out for you, try again, because black people are worthy to be served. As far as I know, there's no other people on this earth that we should be more happy to serve than our own beautiful black people, and all praise is due to Allah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Brother Manatee. I appreciate it very, very much, and we hope that God will bless us to do something tonight that's going to be equally as great on the show, because Minister Anthony got something to tell us, and we need to hear what he is saying. We chose a very phenomenal student minister to help us with this topic of is your marriage accountable? A lot of people don't feel like they need to be accountable in their own marriage. I'm surprised that we get married and we don't want to be accountable to our own spouse, Brother Manatee. And so I see Sister Karima is on the line as well. Sister Karima, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my dear sister? Sister Karima? Okay, all right, praise belongs to Allah. She's going to be here. I know she's coming, y'all, and I want to hear what she has to say as well. So, Sister Karima, whenever you come, we want to let you know you have an open line on the show, because we want to hear what you have to say. All praise is due to Allah. I'm so surprised, Brother Manatee, as I was saying to you, about this accountability, and people get married, and brothers get married, and they don't feel like they need to be accountable to nobody. The sister need to be accountable to you, but you don't feel like you need to be accountable to her and what she's going through and her life force at all. And I thought that was very powerful when I first was hearing of this, Brother Manatee.
Yes, sir, Brother Marcus. And we all, you know what I'm saying, have a responsibility. Me being married before, and I can look back on the things that I kind of took for granted. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I was reading the book, The Teachings 2.0, The Twitter Sayings, and somebody asked him the question, you know what I'm saying, I think a prerequisite to marriage is to accept the chance of any failure and unhappiness. And the person asked, am I wrong? And Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, no, you're not. Jesus said the kingdom of God is like a man sowing seeds. Some seeds fell by the wayside, some fell on stony ground, and some fell on fertile ground. The journey of faith in God is beset with trials, tribulations, persecution. Marriage is a journey to oneness. And because the physical body are easy to unite, and it gives momentary pleasure, it is only when the mind has become united that every day with one you love is a pleasurable experience. So he was saying basically that we can't go into marriage without expecting having trials and tribulations.
Wow.
And we all, as husband and wife, have to take responsibility to work out those problems, those difficulty factors, those storms, because we don't understand, like the last night's show was talking about being in your own way. And our perception of what marriage is kind of mind-boggling sometimes. I have a lot of friends on social media and a lot of in the nation of believers, and I just read some of the feedback on the threads and on the threads and stuff. And our perception and expectation of marriage is kind of like, to me, in my personal opinion, is far-fetched. And we don't want to take personal responsibility for self-examination, self-analysis, self-correction, and self-responsibility. And then we don't want to share together in working towards a harmonious solution to overcome the obstacles that Allah might place in that marriage, because as we want to be at one with Him, He made that a trial. And He replicated that to the process of being married, a trial. And so we go into marriage thinking with a B plan, and sometimes with a C plan, and not realizing that we have to own it. We have to take responsibility to understanding that we made a commitment to Allah and a covenant with Him and to ourselves, individual, and each other, that we both have to take responsibility individually and collectively to work out the problems that we might encounter, to overcome them and get past the breaking point. Because when we get past the breaking point of the trials and tribulations in our marriages and relationships, we can go to higher levels of spiritually, mentally, morally, and emotionally and physical intimacy, not only being at one with Allah, but being at one with each other.
Wow, that's really, really true, Brother Manatee, because I think that as we have gotten involved with marriage, we didn't know we were going to have to be accountable to each other, you know, and that's so powerful that, you know, we what's the name? We don't know that we're going to have to really try our best to take charge of ourselves in the marriage. A lot of people think that marriage is about you taking charge of your wife, you taking charge of your husband. We think that's what marriage is all about, taking charge of somebody else. But no, marriage is about you taking charge of yourself to be the best spouse you can be, not taking charge of her, not taking charge of him, but taking charge of yourself. And then you got to be accountable to take charge of yourself. And that's a big problem that we have in marriage. We don't believe that our spouse should say anything to us And I see that our brother minister is on. All praise is due to Allah. I'm so happy to have him on. And minister, I'm glad that you're here because we're talking tonight about accountability in marriage. And I want to ask you, first of all, how you doing? First of all, that's the first thing we want to ask you.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother. How are you, sir? You and your lovely wife?
We're wonderful, brother. By Allah's grace, we have Brother Manatee here with us, and we also have Sister Karima. She's somewhere on the lines. We just got to find her. But we are all here together, and we want to talk with you tonight about this very powerful topic. And you are going to hopefully guide us into a great discussion on this topic. Tell me about accountability in marriage. Do you find it necessary as a minister to be accountable to your wonderful, beautiful wife?
Well, Brother Mark, I know you know the answer to this. Yes, sir, I have to be accountable to her. She's accountable to me. Let me start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah says to the Muslim or to the believer that we should keep our duty. You know, chapter 4, verse 1. Keep our duty first to Allah, then to the ties to one another, and then to the ties of relationship.
Yes.
So the minister said that in Islam is God, family, nation.
That's right.
A nation is built on strong families. And families are built on strong marriage. And strong marriage is built on duties or accountability to one another.
Wow.
So you're right on it, brother, on this one.
All praise is due to Allah. You know, I thought about accountability because I'm seeing so many of our couples, and they don't feel like, minister, that they should be accountable to one another. They got married, but they don't feel accountable to anybody in the marriage with them. And I just don't understand that. Why would a person feel unaccountable, brother minister?
Well, that person I would have to say would be extremely selfish. There's no way that you should be married and say that you love someone and not be accountable to them. See, you have a duty. I have a duty. My wife and I can have a knockdown, drag-out argument this morning, but it doesn't mean that my duty still doesn't continue. And paying the bills or whatever it is that I have to do, nor does she say, well, she's not cooking or whatever, or however it goes, because she's mad at me. Whatever her duty is, she keeps that duty going. Don't mean that, you know, she might not serve my plate, but the food is on the stove. So, I mean, my point is we should be accountable to one another.
All right, praise belongs to Allah. That's so true, brother minister.
With selfishness and those things, we waste a lot of time. God will call you on your for better or for worse. Because I remember talking to the minister, and he said, whatever happened to for better or for worse?
Wow.
So I don't know where how we become so selfish in today's society that we don't see the need to be accountable to one another. I don't know what else you expect in marriage, unless you just in it for what you can get, what someone could do for you, but not what you could do for someone else.
That's so true.
And in your marriage vows, for better or for worse.
That's so true. That's so true, brother minister. You know, accountability, brothers and sisters, must be more than a noble declaration that you make. I am going to be accountable to you. You say that to the sister. You say that to the brother. I'm going to be accountable to you. But now we're talking about it in more of just a noble declaration sense. Let's break down some of this accountability. All right? We're talking about decisions now. You know, couples who are mutually accountable to one another consult with one another about important decisions as a matter of continual, normal practice. They arrive at conclusions and they formulate plans together as a cohesive unit. They avoid making unilateral decisions on significant matters that affect them both. Now that's a big problem, Brother Minister. We all have been there at some point, perhaps in our marriage, where we thought that because all the decisions rested with us, or at least the last decision, we should make all the decisions. But now, talk about decision making and with respect to accountability, Brother Minister.
Well, I think that's a very good point about making the decisions in your home. Many times that comes with blended families where I'll just use this, not that I'm throwing this on the sisters, but say a sister, they're married and she has a child. That's not the biological child of the husband. Then they make a decision based on that child without saying anything to the husband, or vice versa. The father may have children outside the family. He starts making decisions that deals major decisions that deal with the finances of that home, but don't consult with the wife or the spouse about that. Those are the things that can ruin a marriage. They can very much ruin a marriage when we unilaterally make decisions that make us feel better. But you leave your spouse in a bad situation. We try to avoid an argument. We don't want to argue over this situation, whatever it may be. But we got to have that conversation because you're still affecting your home when we do those type of things.
Wow, that's so true, Brother Minister. Brother Manatee, what do you have on that decision making? Brother Manatee? Okay.
I would also go into finances, Brother Marcus.
Oh yeah, that's next, brother. I guarantee you we going into decision making on finances. So say, tell me about decisions and accountability.
I think I sound like a Brother Minister. I think it's most important, like you said, when you decide to get into a marriage, that you know it's almost the I is to drop down to we and us. And when we have the mentality of and it's I all the time, that is a bad sign that the person is very selfish. They have not grown to include their spouse in the decision making. And then it goes to the mindset of the respect that you have for the opposite sex. Do you see a woman's judgment, or do you what's the word I'm looking for? Do you respect her decision making? Because if you are the man of the house, do you rule the house with justice, freedom, justice, and equality? It's not just something we say, but it's in our everyday activity that we want peace in our home. Well, how do we get peace? Islam is peace. It means that we're sitting down, we're discussing things that entail everyone in the family to make a decision on a promotion that may have you travel more, a promotion that may be more income, but you're not at the home, decisions we have to make. Or you decide, well, I'm going back to school. Okay, you going back to school, but have you discussed it with your family? Because someone else is going to have to carry some weight because you're going back to school. So there's so many things that we have to sit down and talk, and that's why I love what the minister said, that our dining room is also our conference room. When we're eating dinner, we should be discussing what's the agenda, what's the plan, what's the goals for the week. You know, that's something as a family we're doing. We're practicing our governorship.
But if we don't want to be accountable, why should I have to tell you? If I'm the man, a man shouldn't have to tell his wife if he is making more money or that more money is coming in. Should he, Brother Minister?
Yes, he needs to talk to his wife, brother.
Oh wow, damn.
I don't know where they get all that from. I mean, first of all, with me, I want to tell my wife everything. I mean, because she's my everything. So I want to talk to her money, yeah, my money is her money.
That's right.
See, we discuss it like that. The Quran says to the Prophet that he should discuss matters with those who he has charge over. But after he's discussed it with them, then he makes a decision. Just like any of a family. You can discuss it with your spouse, but then you can say, okay, well, I don't agree we're going to do it a certain way, but at least that person can put on the table whatever they agree or disagree about. And you have a better view. Even in the mosque, I'm the minister of the mosque. I just don't walk around and say, do this, do that, do this, go over there, do this, do that. I talk to my laborers. Some of them will disagree, and we have a discussion on it. At least I have a rounded view now of what we're discussing, and then a decision is made. That's just intelligence. I mean, so I love what my sister just said, that the dining room table, there's the conference table. I just think that that's an excellent point. Yeah, I love what she said on that.
All praise is due to Allah. Brother Manatee, I want to ask you about decisions, because this is so critical for us to keep talking a little bit about. You know, decisions involve having children, employment, education, housing arrangements, and so forth. These are all major determinations which should also be made jointly. Areas of daily routine must not be overlooked, such as domestic responsibilities, parenting styles, holiday plans, and so forth. You can't overlook those things. Manatee, have you ever had to take accountability for decisions that you've made in your marriages?
Oh, yeah, definitely, Brother Marcus. And this is why I agree with Student Minister Anthony Cecilia in reference to basically proper communication with all those involved. And first, they sit down with the husband and wife, and then get children involved. Once they come to a unified decision on something, especially if it affects the children, then you bring the children in. And as my own personal self, I do a lot of business. And some things I make decisions on, I wouldn't hold my wife responsible like if it's my ideal.
Uh-huh.
Because if I'm going to go out and she agrees that I'm doing something, and even though she wants to support it, but she might not have the energy or the time or the resources, I have to take responsibility. I wouldn't throw that on her. You know, something that I took the lead on, she just went along with it, then I'm going to come back and throw it on her like it's her responsibility to make it happen. And sometimes I see that we can do that as brothers. But at the same time, too, you know, as God is the head of man, man is the head of woman, but truth is the center of all things. And then it also comes down to compromise, because you might not always agree on the same thing. But what's the best plan to move the family forward? You know, how can we manage the things that we disagree upon? And looking at all things, even if you have to bring in an outside arbitrator. You know, but whatever the decision comes down to, whether it's a compromise one or one that's made together, everybody has to have all hands on deck and support it to make it successful, because you can't have a divided ideal and that some agree with and some don't, and it's going to set the family up for disaster. But as men, you know, we have to take the brunt of responsibility of all things, whether we agree with it or not, or whether it's something that we're saying we support another family member in. The bottom line is going to come back on us, and as men, and part of us being men, that's what we just have. It comes with the territory. Sometimes we as brothers like, wait a minute, I didn't really go along with that thing, but we got to be strong enough and supportive enough, you know, with our children and our wives and things, as long as there's nothing too far to the left.
Uh-huh.
But there's nothing underneath the sun as a family or as a husband and wife that we can't come out with a mutual understanding to support it, to make it a success. As long as we both dealing with truth, like Mr. Ishmael talked about, being true and speaking on truth, and something that's for the benefit for the whole, not necessarily for an individual.
Wow, That's so powerful, Brother Manatee. And it's so very true. You know, all of us are confronted with our own selfishness, as Brother Student Minister Anthony said. We got to look at how selfish are we in our own marriage. Are we allowing our marriage to breathe? Can our spouse get a word in edgewise with us concerning us? If they're experiencing you and they're affected by you, you're in their life, you're their partner, they're experiencing you, and they have a negative experience with you, will you allow them to have a chance to talk about the negative experience and what you did to them and how they were affected by you? That's always so positive and powerful when you're going about that. Now, this is the finance question and accountability. You know, here's a brother that lost his job, Brother Minister, but he don't want to tell his wife. He's going to pretend that nothing happened, and he's going to go to work every day at the same time, but he's going to go sit at the park and watch squirrels play while his wife is expecting him to be at a job working. Is that right, Brother Minister?
No, sir. He's on the stove trying to make the soup, and all of a sudden the lights go off. or something. No, God. I know the feel of the brother feeling sad because he don't want to tell his wife that he lost his job, could have been his fault or what have you. He's acting a fool on the job and lost the job. But there's nothing better than coming home when you have them kind of situations and you talk to your wife and she tell you, baby, it's going to be okay. Man, you feel like you could take the world at your back like that. I mean, there's no better feeling than that. So that brother that did that, brother, you denying yourself something that you don't know. And when she tell you, baby, we got this. Because I've been there, Brother Marcus, where I lost my job. I didn't act a fool. They fired.
Come on now.
You know, and I could go home and tell my wife that, hey, they fired me or whatever it was. And she looked at me in my face and say, it's going to be all right. Man, but there's no better feeling than that when you know you got somebody to back you.
Come on now.
So, I'm just telling you, but that's, look, you feel like you can knock down a wall when you know she got your back. So I would tell the brother, go home and talk to your wife about it. But my part about the finances was, we have this thing in us that men are the maintainers of our women, and we are.
We say that all the time. Yes, sir.
But you're supposed to use the greatness of intelligence at all times. So now, look, if you are a poor financial person, you can't manage money. If you need a co-signer to pay cash because you in the poor,
that is bad.
then you should probably want. I know a brother. I have a friend like that, and his wife was trying to talk. He allowed his wife to manage the money. The man's credit score is 800 because his wife is a better financial manager of finances than he is. So now, anything he want to go and get, he can just walk in anywhere he want and get it. But his wife, because she managed the finances. When you see him, Brother Marcus, he dressed good because he can get anything he wants now. But he was around there trying to manage the finances, didn't know how to do that. He was better at it. So my point is, intelligence would say, if the wife is better at managing the finances, allow her to do so.
But I'm the man, Brother Minister. Ain't I supposed to manage the money?
You're supposed to be wise enough.
But look, there are husbands who are a chef, 4 or 5-star chef. He's better at cooking. They don't mean that he know how to put an apron on and go on there and make it happen. And maybe his wife can't pour water. That don't mean that she's less or he's more.
There you go, brother.
That's what we have. See, I mean, that's real talk.
That's real talk, brother. Because so many times we're so rigid in these roles that we have, and we don't realize that you're being so rigid, but it might be causing the destruction of your own marriage. by you being so rigid, not being able to look at things in a different kind of way. That sounds like what you're saying to me, Brother Minister.
That's it, brother. Look, we in it to win it. You know what I mean? Look, man, with me, it's my wife, it's me and her against the world. That's the way we say it all the time. We in it to win. So whatever we got to do. My wife now, brother, you talk about finance, I handle the finances in my house. So my wife can't do that. No, stuff bouncing, brothers. I mean, you be bouncing all over like them super balls or something. She's not good at that. Not, they don't take anything from her. I'm a better financial manager of finances than she is. But there's a whole lot of things in this house that she's a whole lot better at than I am. So look, if she's better at it, I'm going to have to listen to her.
That's exactly right.
So she reads people like you read a book. I mean, she's better at that than I am. So sometimes when she tells me things about people, then I have to listen to what she's saying, because she's good at that. 9 times out of 10, what she says is right. But when it comes to finance in my home, I happen to be better. But I know brothers in their home, the wife is better. And I know brothers in their home, the wife is better, but he won't allow her to handle the finances. And their stuff is, and she's sitting there trying to tell him, baby, let me do this. I can do this. So if we're together, we do what's best.
Wow, that's so powerful, Brother Minister. And couples who are mutually accountable to one another are transparent about their money and their finances. If you get a $5,000 windfall, a $10,000 windfall, and your wife doesn't know about it, your husband doesn't know about it, you got money, and they don't know nothing about your money. You're walking around buying yourself all kind of nice things, and they don't know nothing about the money. And you're married. Is that cool to do, Brother Manatee? To not tell your wife, tell your husband about money that you receive? You got a big bonus on your job, but your husband and your wife don't know nothing about your money.
No, Brother Marcus, that's not cool. And this is why we have to come into these relationships being as transparent as we can be and being selfless. And also, we have to put each other in the situation to win. Because sometimes we put each other in the situation to lose. Like, for example, if a person is not good at financing, but the person that is good at it doesn't want to take that responsibility on, and they put it on the person, and they both know that that person is financially responsible, and then they wind up why the money messed up, because we put the person in the situation to fail. And this is where working together as a team and understanding that it ain't the I or the me, but it's the we and the us. By the grace of Allah, that's going to make us successful. In dealing with finances, that's a big problem, in relationships, where we get stuck there because money has become our God, not a number one necessity or tool for us to use. But therefore, it has power and force, so it makes a person not tell themselves that they got some windfall money. It makes a person start being selfish. I've been taking care of this family all my life. I got some money here. I'm going to go ahead and just how to do. You see, so then we start sneaking and peeking, and so it's something where trust, has to be at the center, and also understanding that if a person has a weakness, if you have a husband or wife that's not financial responsible, and they know they got money in that account, they're going to go spend it, then you might have to be creative, right, in a way to where this person doesn't understand that we're trying to save to a certain thing, and they won't just grab the money and just spend it off on foolishness. Then you have to use the grace of the talent to pray to Allah and bring them back around the back door into what happened. Once you did what you had to do properly with the money, because sometimes I've seen in relationships, individuals just take money and squander the woman or the male or female and just squander it up.
Wow. Lord have mercy. That's so powerful, Brother Manatee. We have so many couples tonight that are listening, and they're wondering about their financial situation. Is all the cards on the table regarding your wife's income and your income as the husband? Do you have money that your spouse doesn't know nothing about that's coming to you? Do you have an account, that a private account being set up by them that you don't know nothing about? You know, practices regarding spending, credit, debt, bills, banking, budgeting, and so forth must all be open for discussion and cooperatively agreed upon. Spouses in strong marriages do not withhold information or keep secrets from one another, and matters of money are no exception. Now let's bring Sister Cecilia in here. Sister Cecilia, it says to us that finances are one of the biggest indicators that we having problems in the relationship. And one of us is not being accountable. Talk about accountability in marriage along the lines of finance, Cecilia.
Well, we do know that the top 3 reasons people get divorced, and one of those is finances for that particular relationship. It's either 1, 2, or 3. It's one of those, because that is the biggest issue when it comes to finances, because you have to have and you have to try out different things to see what works for your family, what is most productive for you financially. And I love what Brother Minister said. You know, you got to choose the one that does it the best, that knows what to do to get the family where we need to go, where you want your bills to be paid. You're tired of paying late fees, and you start adding up how many late fees are we paying. How can we, let's look at a calendar together. The most important thing, again, is for the husband and wife to sit down and talk about the finances. How much money we have coming in. How much money are we spending? What is being spent frivolously? What is it that instead of us plopping down this amount of money, how about if we really want it, let's save for that particular thing? Because in everything in our life, we have to get some discipline. And if you know someone is a spender, okay, this may be an idea for your family. We have one account that's just for all the bills. All money for bills go into this account. And then each person may have their own bank account for their frivolous spending, so it does not affect the bill money. And for us, that works perfectly, because we had accounts together, and we would check with each other, well, who took this out, or who took that out? And we're calling back and forth to tell each other, oh, I just spent this, or I just spent that. And it was just like, okay, you know what? One account for bills, another one, you have your card, I have my card. So if you got that account with the bills, then you don't have to worry about someone spending the bill money. So again, we have to try different things. It's nothing harmful to take some financial classes, because credit is a big thing. And by Allah's grace, this year, we, hopefully inshallah this year too, but last year we had one of our brothers here in Atlanta, Brother Dawood Muhammad, to come to the marriage retreat. And he did an excellent class on credit and giving the believers the information. He had a certain time, and I told my husband, I said, we're going to just have to give him a whole day, because the believers were real, that he gave them hands-on things that helped them with their credit. Because if you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, why are you paying 21, 27, 15%? 15% is almost dang good, but it's not good either. But again, we have to talk about this, well, and we get so crazy, well, this the white man world, it's going to hell, so I don't care. You got to care, because you paying too much unnecessarily. I just had a discussion with some people about a credit card. I said, you know, they tell us, oh, just pay $20, just pay the minimum fee. No, you don't. I said, you want to build your credit with a credit card? One of the first things you do is pay your bills with your credit card, put your money back on, pay the whole amount, and that's how the Caucasians do it. I was working with credit cards for almost 6-7 months, and that's how they did it. They would use their credit card to pay their everyday bills, and then use their check to pay the credit company back.
Right.
And they got 700-800 credit scores because it looks like they are credit worthy because they're paying it back.
Today we're talking about being accountable to your spouse and being accountable in the relationship that you're in. You know, now we're going to move into a segment called relationships. It says that couples who are mutually accountable, Brother Minister, to one another, they communicate openly and honestly about the nature and dynamics of relationships with others. Brother Minister Tony told us about third parties and how whenever you got a problem, there's always a third party present. He said, they put no other friendships and relationships above that of the marriage and family. A lot of people have their mama in them in their relationship, around their relationship. Their mama know everything that's happening in their marriage in relationship. Do you recommend that, Brother Minister?
No, sir. Before I go, I want to say, Sister Cecilia, you was right on it, sister. You was on that. See, and I think that, Brother Marcus, I got to applaud you all. If you had someone come and talk about finance, I think that is huge to talk about when it comes to marriage. And also, for the brothers now, we got to say it now. We are taught what mine is hers, and what's hers is hers. So let's not get past that. That's real. That's what we are taught in the Nation of Islam. My money is her money. Her money, her money. You know. So I mean, let's not act like that don't exist. So in my house, you know, my wife has access to my account. I don't know what she got in her account. She can look at mine anytime she wants. I don't know what's in hers. Her money is her money. What's mine is hers. What's hers is hers. I just want to put that on the table.
Come on now.
So to your point, no, sir. See, Mama and them, Dooney and them, little Pookie down the corner, or ex-spouses. Sometimes the third party is some ex that was in a person's life.
Wow.
The repercussions of what the ex did 4 years ago, 5 years ago, or what have you. No, we can't do that. Bring third parties in our relationship, and we are living on this past experience. What you're talking about with accountability. Some of it is past experience. We've been taught as men by somebody in the street or how to be a man or what a man is or what have you. And then when we get married, we bring that into the relationship. Now we deal with our wife as though, you know, this is how a man's supposed to be. And that's not the case. So no, I don't approve of that. I don't go along with that. But you're right, Brother Marcus. I see it all the time in relationships.
That's so true, Brother Minister.
And they don't trust their wife. And then when you get them in the corner, you find out really what's upset is they don't trust her because they're mad at someone else who hurt them 5 years ago.
Damn.
And now you take that on the wife that you just married who has nothing to do with whatever happened back then.
That's exactly right, Brother Minister. If your anger is misplaced in your marriage, that's what we're talking about a little bit today. If your anger, is it really towards your wife, or is it toward another woman that ain't even in your life no more, that your wife don't know nothing about? Is your marriage, are you angry at your husband for something that your ex did to you? And you in this new marriage, and you're trying to find out why I'm so angry at your husband. Is he getting the residual effect of all your anger at your exes? See, this is why auditing is so necessary. You cannot be in a new relationship if you haven't been audited from your past relationships. You know, and so we want to talk about establishing and maintaining appropriate boundaries with friends. You know, Brother Manatee, do your friends need to maintain appropriate boundaries with them with respect to your house? Can they come in your house anytime they get good and ready?
No, sir, Brother Marcus. No, sir. And that's where you find a true friend. Or brother or sister. Somebody that's going to respect the boundaries of a person's relationship. I might have a brother come to me and he might be explaining some things that him and his wife might be going through, and I'll listen. And then I don't take the side, but I do point out to him where I think that he might be wrong, and they might look kind of shocked, like, huh? And I'll say, bro, look at it this way, could you have done so and so and so? But I never try to give them an answer or a solution or tell them what they should do. Mm-hmm. Because we find most people go to others and they're angry and bitter at their spouse, and they go confine in somebody else who's angry and bitter, or they single. Mm-hmm. And they seeking counsel against somebody that got more problems than them about themselves, and wonder why they both wind up being single together.
Wow.
And especially when you're kind of like, upset with your spouse, the one thing you can do is take advice from somebody who especially ain't running their own affairs, and then somebody that's going to go beyond the boundaries of, comforting and consoling you, but not giving you really advice. But somebody's going to look at who you're wrong at, but somebody's not going to try to intercede in your affairs. And we have a lot of people, whether they're family members or believers, giving more marriage counseling, relationship counseling than they take their own self.
Wow.
That's where we have to rise up our emotions into the thinking of God and looking at what is the standard. What is God in Scripture? What is the minister of Elijah Muhammad said on this subject? And we have to be truthful and forthcoming with ourselves, because again, we put our own self in the way, because we put the gun in somebody else's hand to shoot it, and then they holding the smoking gun, but you sit there looking like you don't know what happened.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So very true.
So that's a very touchy situation right there.
That's very true. One of the things that you have to understand, if you're going to be accountable to your spouse, you have to be very mindful of putting yourself in compromising situations and that have the appearance of impropriety. Are you doing that? Cecilia, talk for a minute about people who are in relationships, but they don't care about how things look, and how things look. A perception is a reality. People's perception is reality to them. Even if you are not doing nothing, you still got to be careful of how this might look. Talk for a minute about that, Cecilia.
I mean, that's definitely, again, protecting our moral character, and that's why our behaviors is of such that if we have someone example, we have a brother or sister in our car, and they're not our spouse, especially if it's a brother driving a sister, then, that sister sits in the back. Why? Because...
She sits where?
In the back.
In the back?
In the back seat.
In the back seat.
In the back seat.
Okay,
because, again, to sit in the back. Why? Because that protects you. If someone drives and they see you with this woman in front of your car, what's the first thing? If they know you, oh, that ain't his wife. What's going on?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? What is going? Oh, that's not sister so and so. So again, you don't even want it to look improper.
That's right.
And that is, again, protecting our moral. Like I say all the time, I said we got to think and really process it. The minister was getting into it a lot. The way he broke down the story at Savior's Day about the sister with the garbage coming downstairs. I mean, the way I was sitting there cracking up, because that's exactly how our mind works.
Absolutely.
The deceptive intelligence. Brother, we know you got to go out and sell papers and invite guests. But why every time you picking up sisters, they in your car in the front seat?
In the front seat.
And you expect your wife to be comfortable with that? Like, no, sir. And first of all, you're supposed to have, it's supposed to be you and another brother, because again, that's protecting you.
That's right.
The minister said, brothers, if you going door to door, it's not safe to go by yourself, because some sister gonna come to her door dressed inappropriately. Yes, you can come in and rest your papers right here on the table. And
that's right.
Tell me more about Mr. Muhammad's way. Come on now, come on. And you expect and see, with counseling couples, it'd be a lot of things just that simple. Yes, brother, you a mechanic. Your wife understands you doing that. But why is the sister calling you at 12 o'clock at night talking about she needs you to come fix her plumbing? See, that's inappropriate.
That's right.
Unless you're running a 24-hour emergency plumbing, that's one thing. But if you're doing regular hours, come on. And vice versa with us as sisters. We have to protect ourselves by the way we dress, by the way we handle ourselves, because again, men will approach you inappropriately and we have to cut it off at the neck to always guard our moral character. Because you're married, there's certain things you just do not do.
Like what? Like what?
For sisters, accepting flowers from a man that ain't your husband.
All right.
Oh, well, is he just my boss? He just wanted to congratulate me on a promotion.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you can give me a card, you can give me a raise, but, you know, bringing me flowers, and it's not just once. You bring it every time I do something really nice. You know, that could be a problem.
Take you lunch.
Or you, like Brother Manatee said, you talking too much to somebody because you're upset at your husband. Mm-hmm. And he got an ear now, and now you're connecting because you don't have an emotional connection with your husband. You talk to another man that listens to you, that makes you feel appreciated, and before you know, you done fell into a trap.
See, we're talking today because we're trying to save your marriage. If you are involved in something that is not proper, then you have to get out of that thing. And I know it might hurt you to get out of that thing. You might not want to. You might have all your instincts kicking in right now, and it's telling you, don't listen to what Brother Marcus and Sister Cecilia and Brother Manatee and Brother Minister is saying. They are not telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I'm the inner Satan talking to you about what you're doing, and you're doing just fine. But we're trying to talk to you to save your life and to save your marriage, because we don't want to see you go down that road. We're talking about accountability in marriage. And rather, you got to realize that when integrity and complete openness exists in this realm, then the risk of temptation, breach of trust, suspicion, and other negative factors are greatly minimized. If you hiding texts from your wife, if you hiding texts from your husband, if a text come in and you don't want your spouse to see it, what's going on with you?
They become an Olympian to get to their phone.
An Olympian, jumping over the bed, jumping over the house is you in the other area of the house, and you come running through the house to get your phone. What's going on? Why do you got a password on your phone? We talk about that at the marriage tree. Why do you have a password on your phone for real? We're going to talk about that at this year's marriage retreat to make you think about what's really going on with you. Are you involved in an affair that your wife or your husband don't know nothing about? What's really going on? We just talking, Brother Minister? We're just talking tonight about accountability in marriage. And I want y'all to know that we're going to be more getting into this with you, because we gotta be honest about what's really happening. Now let's talk a little bit about history. You know, couples, they say, who are mutually accountable to one another, Brother Minister, they openly share any and all information about their past. Now that's a very powerful thing when you're mutually accountable, Brother Minister. You openly sharing any and all information about their past. First of all, do you agree with that, Minister?
Well, I was going to say that's a very touchy situation there.
Okay.
Because people have to come to you. And that I'm person has been molested or something. So that's a touchy one there. I was laughing because Sister Cecilia, you become an Olympian. I run into that all the time.
Uh-huh.
About people with their passwords on their phone, and they make up such a big deal. My wife can look at my phone anytime she wants.
Anytime she wants.
I do have a password on my phone, but I tell her what it is. I don't care. My children know the password on my phone.
All right.
So but she can look at it any time she gets ready.
Allahu Akbar.
That makes her feel better. That makes her secure. That she needs to know what's on my phone. That she can look at it whenever she wants. Look, I'm not hiding anything from her. Now, I wanted to touch on this, Brother Mark, because I'm a minister. So now you know, brother, you're a marriage counselor. You know that as men in front doing things, there are sisters who come. They come from the world. They don't have our teaching.
That's right.
See a brother doing something, they want to go after that brother. You know, they have these, well, you're married, yes, are you happily married, and all these things.
Wow.
So I know, I grab my wife's hand, I let all of them know, this is my wife.
Uh-huh.
This is my wife. And right off the top.
Right off the top.
Because I need her to know. Now, I learned this from her. I didn't know this made her feel this way. My wife said, you always make me feel like I'm the one.
Allahu Akbar.
So when she said it, I didn't know that's what just something like that did for her. I didn't know. I was doing it because that's what we do. But she said, you always make me feel like I'm the one. So in those situations where sisters are around and all that, I grab her hand so she would know, you my boo. I don't care who in this room, you my boo. Now I say that because we have to make our spouses secure, and that's how you do that. You know, so if your wife is checking your phone and stuff, it's because you and I are not making her, or whoever that is, you're not making your spouse secure. Therefore, they enter into peace. That's real important that we do that.
Come on.
Now, I want to say this, Mark, I know I didn't answer the question, but my wife had brain surgery. And that brain surgery, that's handicapped her somewhat. So now my wife is handicapped. So we talk about for better or for worse. It ain't her fault that she had brain surgery, that she's somewhat handicapped. So that means now that some of her duties, my wife can't work. So some of her duties, her hands, she can't use them as good as she used to. So now, brother, I got to put an apron on when I come home from work. So I'm living a baby face all day. I pay your rent. I cook your dinner.
Come on, brother.
As soon as I get home from work, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I have to do all of these things. And I'm not tired. I mean, it tires me, but I never want her to feel at no time that she's some burden because she can't do what she used to do. So when you talk about accountability, Brother Mark, because I'm telling you, your audience, life has a way, it'll call you on it. You talk all this about better or worse, life will call you on it. And then what you're going to do when one of you ends up with an illness or something of that nature, what you going to do? Now things change. It ain't the same no more as it was. So when I go to Savior's Day now, Brother Marcus, you know, I have to make sure she's okay. Those things, it's different, you know. So I'm telling your audience, life is short. Y'all around here arguing over this dumb stuff. Look, sit down as husband and wife and put the plan together and enjoy your life.
That's right.
Life will change your stuff, man.
It sure will. That's so true, Brother Minister. I mean, all praise is due to Allah. We're talking tonight about accountability and being accountable to your spouse. You know, I've met so many people out here in 2019, and they don't feel like they should have to be accountable to their spouse. I have my sister on the line. This is Sister Karima Muhammad. I think she's ready. Sister Karima, are you on the line? Hold on one second. I'll be able to get you in just a second. All right. Sister Karima, are you there?
I'm here. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Wa alaikum salam. How you doing?
Happy Savior's Day.
Happy Savior's Day to you too, my sister. We are jamming with Minister.
Hello.
He is really giving us some things to think about in 2019. He's talking about accountability in marriage. You know, tell me just briefly, what are some of your experiences with accountability in your own marriage, sister?
In my former marriage, okay, well, first I've been enjoying what I've been able to hear thus far. Praise be to Allah. And so if I repeat something, please forgive me.
Go ahead, sister.
I look at the accountability, and I'm glad Brother mentioned in terms of the emotional support that a husband should extend to his wife in terms of keeping her feelings as a priority. You know, if there's something that is making your wife feel uncomfortable, that you make every effort to ease or to, you know, resolve any feelings of insecurity that she may have around how you feel about her, especially as it relates to your interaction with other women. It's funny that this came up in this conversation because a sister has been posting questions on Facebook, and some of the questions were actually related to these types of encounters. I think it's important for a man to do that for a woman, but as well as for the wife to do that for her spouse. You know, Brother had mentioned earlier about holding your wife's hand in the company of others. Well, as a wife, you should be able to do that to hold your husband's hand when other men are approaching, or make it a point to, you know, not talk as much and allow your husband to lead the conversation with other men. You know, that puts you in, I think, in a environment where you're protected and where he is out front and you're not so pronounced in that interaction. I think things like that are healthy. And it's not to say that you shouldn't have any input, but it is to say you don't always have to have that kind of engagement with other men in the presence of your husband. Does everyone understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
And I think being willing to kind of hold your conversation, I think, in certain situations is healthy for your relationship. Also, complimenting your husband in front of other people. You know, this is all in proper handling of people. Complimenting your husband in front of people that he honors and he respects, so that he knows how you feel about him, and that you're honoring him and you're giving him, you're edifying him in the presence of other people. I think all of those things help us to build that emotional trust, that relationship trust, and we should be accountable to one another's feelings in that way. So that would be the only thing that I would add, so far.
All praise is due to Allah. You know, we have a letter tonight that I want to read to y'all, and it's so powerful that this person has written me and told me some things that, I just was blown away by their letter. But, Brother Minister, I want to ask your permission. May I please read the letter, because they want advice from you on how to handle this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, y'all ready for this letter? Because this person really wants some help. You know, they said, "Dear Brother Marcus," they said, "I'm deeply sorry for being unfaithful and telling lies and taking other actions that led to my wife's pain and the ongoing struggles and sorrow that she was experiencing as he is seeking now to heal his relationship with her." He said he was not accountable at all in his marriage. He said as a result of his poor actions and choices, we are now at a point where this marriage is not going to make it in 2019, and I need to know what I can do to make it right with my wife, because I feel like I'm failing her. Brother Minister, what can he do? He's asking us for advice. What do you say to him?
Well, not knowing, the details, I would say to him, if he's a Muslim, get with your minister of your city or someone, sit down with counsel. First thing you want to do is sit down with counsel so that we can put on the table whatever those issues are. If you try to do it by yourself, the Bible in Matthew 18:18 says, "If my brother offends me, go to my brother alone." And then it says, "Seek counsel sit down with those who could help him and her to see what's going on. He can really see how to heal or find a way to heal his wife. The minister told me, whatever happens for better or for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my brother wants to save his marriage. That's a beautiful thing. Usually what we end up doing is true as brothers. When the house almost burned to the ground, then we decide we want to save it. You know, all the signs were there. You smell the smoke and all that kind of, the fire alarm was going off. She's telling you you're about to lose, and we just don't hear it. I don't know why we, what that is, but many times that happens. But if you can get her to sit down and have counseling with someone that she trusts, like Brother Matthew said, not your friend or whatever, but someone that she would have trust in, and sit down and have a professional counselor. Black people don't like counseling.
We don't, brother. That's right.
Problem, I don't. What is? We think that means we crazy or something. I don't know, but we need counseling. That's why, Brother Marcus, I appreciate what you and your lovely wife, Cecilia, what you all are doing. We need to have counseling to sit down and talk and help us to see the pain. Now, this brother said, sounds like he said he sees what's the pain, and he realized that he is really messed up, and he's trying to fix it. And then I would advise his lovely wife, if it was all possible, again, I don't know the details, atonement. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us the steps of atonement. So if it's infidelity, there is life in marriage after infidelity. Now, I know his wife, she may not see, or whatever it is, she may not see her way and finding a way to forgive her brother. But we mess up a lot of times. I'm who I am based on a lot of mistakes that I've made.
Come on now, brother.
Right, and those mistakes is what made me a better person.
Better person.
I mean, it's not always, I'm not on point all the time. A lot of those mistakes, those are the things that I feel the most because I know I may have harmed someone or injured someone or didn't do something. And those things make me a better person. So I would tell the wife, if she was listening, that when a man is putting it on the line like that, if in counseling you can see whether he's sincere or not. Here's a man that would do whatever he can. And then I would say to the brother, if she gives you an opportunity, brother,
come on.
Ain't blow. You can't come in there talking about, I've seen a brother Marcus, you have, but I told her I was sorry. You know what I mean? I'm like, you talk like that. If she wants to see your phone every day, you better show it to her every day. If she wants you to text her and tell her where you are, whatever it is, whatever she needs to make her feel secure, whatever that is, you have to make a commitment to want to do that. You can't say that what she's asking is extreme. Because after all, you are the one that sent the letter saying that you want to repair this. And in repairing this marriage, then you have to be willing to do whatever it is that she needs now. Remember that she's the injured party. And whatever she needs to heal, you have to be willing to make a commitment to do that.
Okay. All right. That's beautiful, Brother Minister. Just want to get Brother Manatee just to say anything you want to add to that, if you can add anything to that. Sister Karima, anybody?
I think Brother Minister said it, whatever it takes, and the critical part is that most of the time a wife is warning you. She's giving you signs. She's telling you as straight. She starts off polite and nice about it, and then it gets to the point where you're like, okay, you tinging on a little bit of disrespect now, but she's been warning and asking you and telling you, and you're not listening. The fire's burning, and she's telling you, and you're not listening. And before long, you turn around, and her closet's empty, and you wonder why. She's warned you. She's told you, I'm tired, and you're not doing nothing. You're so complacent and comfortable that you don't hear her words. And that is what leads to a lot of problems. And we as sisters have to see the signs. And the minister said, look at the screen of your husband. Try to determine, even if he don't say it, you could tell something is going on. Because sometimes we can get so busy in our day-to-day activity that we don't pay each other mind. And we have to be more conscious to bring our spouses to the front of the stove instead of putting them on the back eye.
All praises due to Allah. That's so powerful. I want y'all to think about what's being said today about accountability. And get with me as I bring you this next letter from a sister that wrote me. And she wants some advice again from you, Brother Minister. I don't know if you can help this at all, but I'm going to tell you her letter with your permission.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all praises due to Allah, because this is a wild letter here. All right, y'all ready for this? She said, Dear Brother Marcus, she said, it was with a heavy heart that I write this letter to you, and it's truly sad that this has happened to us and our marriage. She said that she has been involved with 2 affairs at the same time going on. She said she's made many mistakes in the past and she cannot change those. And she said that she's been able to recognize her errors in judgment, and she feels like she's learned from her mistakes and that she can take steps to ensure that they will not happen again, and that she's truly sorry for helping to create this environment that has made her affair possible. She says, Brother Minister, can you please help me to get my situation right with my husband? Even though I've been involved, I'm very repentant over what I've done. Brother Minister, the ball is in your court now. Please help me.
Oh. Again, not knowing all of the details. One of the things that marriages break up from is this thing called infidelity. And this infidelity, we don't always see the damage that it will cause to the other person. That's a very dangerous situation because people get shot and all of that when you get involved in something like that. So if the sister says that she's learned why did she do what she did, again, Brother Marcus, you mentioned earlier about auditing and those things, that we need to look at why do we do some of those things. She sounds like someone that she's examining herself to see why she did that. But again, her husband would be now the injured party. And if you all would go to counseling, this is why I recommend counseling, because when you all try to do it on your own, and you're in your pain and your husband is in his pain, sometimes that doesn't bode well in healing. Counseling is a situation where that this third party is a person that both people speak to. So that takes some of the sting off of what's going on. You see, and then this counselor, the counselor starts by being in the relationship or as you're counseling, but they gradually move themselves out of it, out of the parties to talk to each other. But it's just like, in court, you don't talk to one another, you talk to the judge. You know, and you give the judge, Your Honor, he's lying. Your Honor, she's lying. The same way in counseling, that takes some of the sting off of what's going on. To allow the counselor speaks male and female, and he makes sure that the other person understands what's being said, and not just what's being heard. So I would strongly advise people, you know, when you have these situations, take advantage of counseling if it's available to you. Counseling is a good thing, Brother Marcus and Sister Cecilia, and there may be others in other areas. Take advantage of that. I like counseling with my wife in the sense that it helps sisters to feel secure.
That's right.
Overlook something. But you know what I'm saying? If I overlook something, I'm a male. And as a male, I can sometimes overlook something that a sister may say. My wife can stop me right there and say, no, wait a minute, we need to explore this a little more, open this up a little more from what she said. And so, this sister, if you were doing that, and you want to save your marriage, just remember your husband is the injured party.
Right.
And I would dare to say, as men, it's sometimes harder for us to overlook betrayal in that sense than it is for women. It takes a little more for us, sisters, than it takes for sisters. God has made y'all have such a loving heart, a forgiving heart. But as men sometimes, that becomes very difficult for us.
She's saying to...
We did say, for better or for worse.
She did say that. Now, Minister, this is very powerful what she's saying now. She's saying the reason she cheated was because of him. It was his fault that she cheated. That's what she's saying to us. Would you explain to us how that reality is happening with us in 2019?
But how does she mean it's his fault that she cheated?
She said that he didn't satisfy her at all as a husband.
Oh.
And she said that, she needed more.
Oh.
That's how she's saying it right now. She's saying she needed more. So, Brother Minister, that's a deep thing. When a sister is saying that to a man, that she needs more, and what he's working with ain't enough.
I don't know how to answer that one. I do think that it's true. With all of this, these are things that we are going to have to discuss, Brother Marcus. I don't know if this is the proper setting, but we have to talk about some of those things.
We really do.
With the stuff that got out there now, if that's the case, they put it on TV all day, all the stuff you get all kind of stuff to I don't know, to make it work. If you're interested, you can make it work.
All praise is due to Allah, and we understand you very, very well. Sister Cecilia, you want in on this conversation. Sister Cecilia, I'm listening. I hope you've heard what I shared with Minister right now. Is there something that you can add to what he is saying and help this sister out? Cecilia, please talk to us.
Brother Minister said it again. Is we have to really look at when we are in a marriage, we have to be honest with our spouse, because if that is the situation, how has the communication gone? There's nothing wrong. We're grown people. You're married. You have to have a conversation about, honey, did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy it? And be honest with each other. Because if we're not honest, that opens up that door that our sister has went into. So we have to have because if we're not communicating about it, then that means that you are mad or angry or dissatisfied with it, and then you wonder why, the intimacy stops. All of a sudden it's not consistent anymore because somebody's not satisfied, and so they rather not do it at all. But then what happens? You're a husband and wife. That means that someone else is going to come into that window, into that door that we have opened. So the conversation has to be there, and by God's grace, we have put together a book called A Good Book on Sex. And it's called that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, get a good book on it. Because you have to talk about nutrition. You have to talk about what is the herbs or whatever the situation is. There is something that you can do, whether it's medically, whether it's herbal, whether it's by the food, is something you can do. And we have to be, and at the marriage retreats, by God's grace, we have that conversation every year. We get into the conversations. We have the sister circle, brother only circles, where those questions come up.
That's exactly right. And
they're going to come up in a marriage. So why do we act like, oh, it's taboo? You better talk about it. I'm married to you till death do us part, and I want to please you in every level that a wife is supposed to do it. So why not have honest and open conversations about it.
Brother Akbar came to our 2004 fourth annual marriage retreat, and Brother Akbar was given a chance to participate in our discussion. We were talking about the sexual side of marriage, and at that time he was not married, and so he said he was going to have to excuse himself. And Brother Akbar didn't excuse himself. He waited with us, and he participated in the workshop with us. And he said that our workshop was very responsible in how we handled such a very delicate subject matter. We are trying our best, Brother Minister, to help couples with this issue. This is something that we got to talk about, and we must explain in a very fun way, in a very relaxed way, where you're not feeling all self-conscious about it. Because Manatee, you were there. You were at one of our workshops, but I don't think we talked about it there at that when he was. No, not the first one. We didn't do that. We didn't talk about it then.
He wasn't the first one. He was there. What? Ask him.
No, he wasn't there. I know he wasn't there.
He wasn't there with Akbar, but Brother Manatee, didn't we have that topic when you were there at the marriage retreat?
Hold on, Brother Manatee. I'm sorry, Brother Manatee. 1 second, please. Let me see. Let me get my Brother Manatee. Yes, sir. Brother Manatee?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was there, and it did come up.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Praise be to God.
Yeah.
All right, so.
And my thing is, too, Brother Marcus, is that I'm glad you and Sister Sue came up with that book, because as Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, the underworld had crept up in the nation.
Absolutely.
And we have to go back to moral integrity, because we are experienced in what we might call intimacy. It's something that we adapted from the mind of Satan.
Right.
And this is why I'm glad that that show on pornography a couple of years ago, Brother Jamil hosted that show.
Yes.
Because what we see out there in the world is right here in our nation.
Right.
And see, in what we can save ourselves, like you said before, not putting ourselves in situations. You know, and like Dr. Wesley always be teaching on, you know what I'm saying, the feminization of the male and the masculinity of the female, but how Satan is gender changing, is changing the sexes on us.
Right.
And we have to be wise and conscious enough what's natural, what's normal, and what's not normal, what ain't natural.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And look at it not from, you know, some Caucasian or even some crazy Muslims, where we talk about homosexuality and Islam is okay now. You know, or some Caucasian telling you, or some crazy black person telling you, you know, what's normal, or what we can do, you know what I'm saying, as partners. So we have to look at the guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and look at what the scriptures say.
That's right.
And use common sense with moral integrity. You know, because we listen to all this crazy music, watch all this crazy stuff on television, and we think it don't affect us.
That's right. That's right, Brother Manatee. Very powerful.
I think
Go ahead, Brother Minister. Go ahead.
I think Brother Manatee has a great point, because sometimes when we say those things that I wasn't satisfied, then maybe what you're saying is you want the world in your Islam. So, and if that doesn't come, then you want to go out and get some more of the world. See, we have to learn to do these things. I didn't know you all had a book. I would probably want to read that. Yeah, brother, because, hey, I need to learn.
We sold out.
But my point is, I do appreciate, I mean, you see how I was him and hard around that question, because it's very delicate to talk about that.
It is very delicate, but it can be talked about with a lot of fun and a lot of wonderful things that we can say to the people who are seeking the knowledge. And Brother Minister, you would be so surprised at how God blesses us to handle when those questions come up at the marriage retreat. They are so blown away by just how easy it is for us to talk about this issue. This marriage stuff is really wonderful when we really get into it. Now, I want to ask
And on top of it, we get older too, because what I'm seeing and realizing that as men get older, they start to settle a little bit, but women, we hit our 40s, you got a whole new wife. and you got to know that. And again, it's learning the foods, the herbs, the vitamins that help us, because like you mentioned, so many of us may have, dealing with some health issues where it'll affect the mood, the intimacy, but there's so many fun things you can do. We teach the art. My husband is a licensed massage therapist, so a lot of the retreats now, he shows little techniques that you can use just to relax your spouse.
That's right. That's very true. And I just want to give a plug for the marriage retreat that we're going to do. By Allah's grace, it's going to be superb this year in New York City. We're going to do the 9th annual marriage retreat in Brooklyn, New York. And you'll see it posted right on my page. And the title that we've given to this particular marriage retreat is "Let There Be Peace in Your Marriage." Let there be peace. We want peace in our marriage. And so we're going to talk about how we get to peace in the marriage. And it's going to be wonderful. And it's going to be so powerful for you to experience. You don't come to our marriage retreat thinking you're going to have to be on post.
No,
because you don't have to be on post at our marriage retreat. We promise you, it's just going to be you and your wife in that room for 3 or 4 days. And I don't know what you're going to do. It's just going to be you. No, you ain't got to do no work. You ain't got to be on post. You just need to be there with her and tell her and talk about how you can make what you're doing with her and with him better. That's what we are striving to do at this year's marriage retreat. And we're going to all get remarried again in Central Park. I can't wait for that myself, to see the beauty of that particular day, that Sunday, after a beautiful lecture from whoever, Minister Hafiz and Minister Tony there in New York. We're going to go to Central Park and have that time to really work on our marriages and to recommit ourselves to each other. And that's going to be a beautiful experience for everybody. All praise is due to Allah. I want to open up the phone lines. Anybody got a question or comment for our wonderful minister? Minister Anthony Muhammad is with us from the great city of Memphis, Tennessee. And he is answering questions and giving us some things to think about in 2019. Sister Karima, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, sir. Looking forward to the questions through the phone.
All praise is due to Allah. Thank you so much, Sister Karima. All praise is due to Allah. We had a question on accountability, and a person was asking us, they didn't see the point of being accountable. They like being secretive in their marriage. They don't want their spouse to know who they are. They like to just know enough to keep going in the marriage, but I don't want you to know me fully. That's what the person is saying. Brother Minister, is that a good policy when you don't want the person, your spouse, to know you fully in the marriage?
I don't even understand that one, brother.
I know this is what they write me. I don't want my spouse to know me fully. I mean, what does that mean?
You don't want to be married. I mean, if you don't want your spouse to know you, what you doing with a spouse? I don't know what that is. That sounds, the minister said that's like prostitution. That ain't marriage.
Wow.
What's going on? That's not marriage.
What did the minister mean?
I mean, you can't, because it means that you just there for, say it's a wife, and she's just there for someone to pay the rent. Or say it's a husband, and he's just there to get from his wife what he can get from her. But he's not there to build a family. He's just there to get, like a John. You just go get what you want and you go on about your business. There is no conversation. There is no, what you're going to do next week or wherever that goes. It's just what I need right now, and that's it. So I don't even understand that. My wife knows. She know when I'm lying. She might not call me on it, but she know when I'm lying. She know when I'm sincere. My wife knows.
All praise is due to Allah. That's beautiful. All praise is due to Allah. Well, I don't want to belabor the point. If there are no questions, we want to ask Sister Karima to give us some closing thoughts as she closes out the show with us today.
Well, I appreciate the conversation as I do every time you offer a show. So thank you to you, Brother Marcus and Sister Cecilia, and to the guests. Is it still Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And Brother Manatee, as always. I really don't have anything else to share tonight. I think this was a night that I really needed to listen and to internalize what was being shared. But I thank you so much, like I said, for always having such wonderful and meaningful dialogue. So,
all praise is due to Allah. We got a question. A person wants in on this conversation. Let's go to the phone lines immediately. 404-432. You're on live with Brother Marcus and Cecilia, and most of all, our beautiful brother, Minister Anthony Muhammad. What is your question or comment? 404-432.
So I had it on mute. I apologize.
Okay, yes, sir. Walaikum salam. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
This is Brother.
Oh, sorry. Okay. You say this is who?
Brother Lance.
Okay, Brother Lance. Okay, you didn't have a question or comment, right?
Yes, I got a question.
Okay, yes, sir.
How do you relate dealing with what we're talking about right now with the scriptures where it says there will be a time where or a day where a man's own household will be his worst enemy, and also the other one where it says two will be lying in the bed, I would take one and leave the other.
Okay.
How can you relate those to the situations that we have in these particular marriages where one spouse wants to save the marriage and the other spouse does not want to save the marriage and also don't want the religious aspect of what we believe, but choosing to go to the world.
All right, praise belongs to Allah. You take your question off the air, sir?
How do I do that?
Okay, no, I'm going to just put you on hold. And, well, in fact, Minister, what do you have as an answer for my dear brother? We'll start with you first.
Well, I'll tell you what the minister told me, brother. I remember in 1992 I was with him, and I told him that my wife and I had agreed that if I ever left the nation, that's grounds for divorce. And she agreed if she ever left the nation, that was grounds for divorce. And Mr. Farrakhan looked at me and said, well, brother, that's what I told you when he said, whatever happens is for better or for worse. And he said in words that that's not enough to break up a marriage. So some of us, we put that on our own stuff. I have brothers and sisters in my mosque that their spouse is not in the mosque. But that's not grounds to destroy the marriage because they're not in the mosque.
Right.
And it's the way we represent what we believe.
That's true.
It repels them. Now, I can tell you, brother, when I came to Memphis, the way Islam was represented in Memphis at that time, many of the spouses of those in the mosque would not come because it was not represented properly. You see, so if I go home and treat my wife the way Islam teaches me to treat her, she's not going to be mad because I treat her the way Islam teaches me to treat her. See, so that, but if I try to shove it down her throat, now she might fight me on that. You see, so I say that to say that sometimes we do that in what we do. That's what the minister told me. So now there's two in the bed, two in the house, God take one, he leave one. See, now I've heard several explanations of that. So sometimes when we mess up, then we want to put it there. But look, think about it this way, brother. I'm going to go spiritual on you. There's two of you. You have a dual nature. One of your natures is the upright nature. But one of them is where the slinking devil came from. What if the two that's in the house, one of them, God's going to take one and leave one, it's the same person?
Wow, that's something to
God's going to take the best part of you and leave the worst part of you. See, so I had a brother who told me he could talk to his wife, about her going to hell because she wouldn't come in the mosque, she asked him a simple question. What makes you think God's going to choose you and not me? Who God's going to choose? So because we're in the mosque don't mean we got a shoe in for the hereafter. So maybe God will keep us.
Be careful.
And take the one that we say is no good at all. So we should let God be the judge on that. So if we have an issue with our spouses as far as religion, the best thing we can do is treat them the way Islam teaches us to treat them. And then maybe they'll come around. That's what I would say to that.
All praise is due to Allah. That's so powerful to think about the way you explain that, Brother Minister. Thank you so very much for that. Brother Manatee, let's get some closing comments from you, my brother.
Yes, one thing, the part where the brother asked the question on, I'm going to read some real quick by the minister from his Twitter thing. He said, if I have a question about marriage, why do so many people enter into marriage that they don't want to be in and are afraid to leave, and even when they know that they should? Muhammad Mosque Farrakhan said, when you made a mistake, wisdom says,
say that again. Brother Manatee? I didn't hear you. Say that again.
He said, I have a question about marriage. Why do many people enter into marriages that they don't want to be in and are afraid to leave even though they know they should?
Right.
The minister answered and said, when you had made a mistake, wisdom said, you correct your mistake. No matter what the situation is, even though God hates divorce, he permits it. And when two people cannot get along in peace, there is constant argument and drives away the spirit of love. There is nothing to build a union on. It is best that they separate before it goes into hatred, and hatred goes into murder. I was going to put it in there because some of the stuff that the question that the brother asked, maybe that might relate to it in some way. But in closing comments, I'd like to thank everybody who's listening, and Brother Student Minister Anthony for being here. And we thank you, enjoyed you, and Sister Karima, and Sister Cecilia, as usual, Brother Marcus, and myself included. We all had to take personal responsibility because nobody is going to make our marriage work. We had the tools necessary from the teaching of the Honorable Muhammad, the study guides, Dianetics. There's other information out there by credible people. If we want to make it happen, T.D. Jakes had a tape he talked about, do we want to be healed? And he asked Jesus, he said, Jesus, that's a stupid question. The man been sick for 38 years by the well, wanting to be healed. Why you ask the question, do you want to be healed? And he said, sometimes we outwardly express things, but internally we don't want to. So we might talk about we want to be married and take responsibility for being married, but internally we really don't. So we had to make a conscious decision on where we at or what we want to get into and take full responsibility to say that we can, we must, and we will in the name of God to make what we hope for and what we want to desire and the faith in Him and ourselves to make that not only come into reality, but be a reality to be successful.
All praise is due to Allah. Thank you both, Brother Manatee and Sister Karima, for coming out to our show and representing, as you always do, every show, providing us with insight that we would not have unless you showed up to our show. Thank you for participating, and we love you very much. All praise is due to Allah. We turn now to you, Brother Minister. You've provided us with exactly what we thought you would provide us, with great information, great sound for us to really focus on in this work that we're trying to do to help Minister Farrakhan. Do you have any closing comments, any way we can reach you? How do we find you, Brother Minister?
Well, brother, first let me thank you, your wife, Sister Cecilia, Brother Manatee,
to Allah, and thank you, Brother Minister, for coming on and being willing to share with us as you always are. This is like the third or fourth time we've had you on our show, and you always do an incredible job. So you are in our rotation to come on our show every couple of months to really bring us some truth that we need to hear. Thank you so very much. We turn now to you, Sister Cecilia. Any closing thoughts, any closing comments, my sister?
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much, Brother Minister Anthony, Brother Manatee, Sister Karima, for your consistency and always being available to assist us on the show. And we are just deeply humbled, and we just want to thank the God, Master Prophet Muhammad, the exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the minister who's the Messiah in our midst, because without those three, where would we be? Where would we be? But just in closing comments to our brother with the last question as well, is that Brother Minister said it purposely, is how are we representing our Islam? And that's always the case, because we can say we are a Muslim, we can say it out of our mouth, but does our spouse experience the Muslim, or are they experiencing the Negro that we hide from everybody else? So that is the case, because we know that women will follow a man, and if she has stopped following you, you have to ask, why has she stopped following you? What is the root cause of her dissatisfaction? And not to negate it, but to really work on it. Because I'm sure that if you married her because you loved her, and it is till death do us part. And sometimes our example causes our spouses to turn away. And we have to stand before Allah to say that I did all I could, but they chose that path, but they're still your husband, they're still your wife. And so again, for all of us, it's our representation of our teachings on what we believe that is our attracting power. If we are repelling people, we have to look at what we are doing as an individual. We love you, we thank you, and may Almighty God bless you with a wonderful week as we start the first full week of the first quarter of the month.
All right.
Praise be to Allah. May Allah bless us all. Assalamu alaikum.
Very wonderful. Thank you so very much, Sister Cecilia. Thank you all for being a part of the Brother Marcus, Sister Cecilia, and the Marriage Keepers show. Again, we have this marriage retreat coming up. This is the 9th annual marriage retreat that we are doing this year in Brooklyn, New York, in New York City. We are going to see a wonderful show. I don't know when we're going to get to see it, but I promise you that's going to be something that we do. If you've never been on Broadway, if you've never had dinner there, it's going to be quite an experience for you to get with us to do it, and it's different than anything you've ever seen. I promise you, if you were to come to the marriage retreat, your marriage would be transformed by the grace of Almighty God. That's exactly what we intend to do. We want to thank y'all for listening. If you want to make a donation to the work that we're trying to do, you can simply go to the show page that we have and give a donation to PayPal, Marcus, or I don't know, something like that. But PayPal, we'll be glad to get whatever you have. Thank y'all very, very much, and God bless you. You know, whenever our wonderful minister comes on this show, we got to play this beautiful song by Marvin Winans. It's called Let the Church Say Amen. Thank you.